everyone. So, this morning we are speaking about words and how it influences the way that we think about ourselves and our paradigms that we have and perspectives that we have. So, I want to read to you in Genesis 37. Now, it is about the story of Joseph that had a dream and said that his brothers is going to bow before him. And then his brothers were off in the field, and his dad sent Joseph to go and give food to the brothers. And they hated Joseph because of all his talk, and he was bringing Skinner stories to his dad all the time. So after when he took the food, they threw him into the pit and sold him to the Midianites. And then they killed an animal, made blood over the garments, and gave the garment to his dad, to Jacob. That's Jacob, no, yeah, Jacob. And we're picking up the story here in verse 32. It says, and they sent the garment to their father, saying, okay, so this is what they are saying. We have found this. Examine and decide whether it is your son's tunic or not. Okay, so they're bringing evidence to their father. He said, so now Jacob is speaking. Jacob is saying, he's looking at the evidence, and he is saying, my son's long garment, an evil wild beast has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. Okay. Can you recognize here that Joseph's brothers never incriminated themselves by their words and to say that Jacob is dead? It was, that Joseph is dead. Jacob himself, after looking at the evidence, made the declaration that Joseph is dead. And that is what he believed until many years later he was, faced with Joseph again and with the actual truth. He was sold into slavery, but that he is alive. Now, what I want to bring under your attention is that many times we are faced with the evidence that people give us. Okay, so, and even not, so let's say, for example, a medical report. The medical report says you have some sort of disease. The financial report says you don't have money. And the world and people represent us with evidence. And I mean, for example, in terms of health things, the doctors are doing a very good job. So I'm not speaking against them. I am now speaking and addressing you and asking you, what do you believe when you are presented with certain evidence? Now, I'm not saying one will never be shocked, and sometimes our peace even goes, and sometimes we face a difficult situation when certain evidence is presented. And I'm not speaking about your initial shock that you see. You see your son's clothes, it's full of blood. Of course you're going to be shocked. But what are you going to believe, and what are you going to believe after you have gathered yourself? Now, obviously, we don't even have to go into shock if we are really steadfast in the word. But we often believe something about ourselves. We believe something about our future, about who God says that we are, that are not the truth, because people have given us certain evidence. And we are the only ones to say, listen, I'm not going to live long. Listen, I'm not going to make it financially. Listen, this character flaw will be forever part of me. It is just human. It is just how I was born. And we start saying certain things because evidence showed us that, that it is maybe truthful to say it. But it is not what the word of God says about you. So it is not something that we should be believing about ourselves. Even if the evidence is contradictory to the word of God, we need to stick our noses into the word of God and start believing and convincing our hearts that the truth of God is in the word, and that alone is what we should be believing about ourselves. We don't have to be hypocrites and say, oh, I'm not sick. No, you're sick, but by the wounds of Jesus you are healed. And so for every type of situation that presents opposite evidence to you, start speaking the word of God over your life and not what you see. I hope this bless you.